Yeah, I feel like I'm suffering from terrible impatience. Um, I always have this thing where I kind of know, mentally that everything's okay, that it's just going to take whatever time it takes. But I have this, it's like that duality of the higher self, if you want to call it that, and this self that's um been like a tank. I feel like I've been like a tank, super controlled, militaristic discipline. I can't let go of it. Things like this week was pretty good. I had some bad nights, but then it resolved, and incredible changes, internal changes, and help from guides, and just stuff that is amazing. But then today, for example, I get up and I'm feeling so impatient. Wait, why isn't this over?
Okay. I think we can all relate, especially the point of feeling a little frustrated and impatient with how long this can take sometimes. I'll share some perspectives. On the one hand, it's important that we contemplate the magnitude of what this really is. If we really sit and contemplate that we are moving towards God realization, enlightenment, self-realization, spiritual awakening, spiritual transformation, ascension, whatever you would like to call it, 5D consciousness, it's a pretty big deal, And therefore, it should take some time. And the way I like to compare it is, nobody complains that high school's 4 years and it takes so long, and it's okay. It sounds like a reasonable amount of time. But if we tell some people Kundalini awakening is going to take a few years at least, they say, oh no, that's too long. This is far more significant than getting your high school diploma, far more significant. And so on some level, we have to acknowledge that, let it take as long as it takes. And you can also note that you've been working on this for a very long time, many lifetimes, you could say. And in this lifetime, having come so far, you're reaching towards some very advanced stages. And that's something to get a little excited about if we zoom out and see the big picture. But of course, yes, it is frustrating, especially when we go through these cycles of healing and we come out, we get a little bit of a breath. It's great. We think, okay, it's over. And then we're back into the darkness, and again and again and again. And it seems like, in some cases, years are going by. It can be very frustrating. One paradigm that you can look at it through is that the impatience is also what's being burned up. The impatience, the ego, the mind's tight grip on control and its own agenda and its own plan and vision for how one's life must go according to one's timeline, according to one's own pace. So what's happening here is that we're trading in those, old paradigms that we must be in control, which may have very well served. Some of us are very successful because we worked hard with discipline, and we didn't stop, and we pushed through, and we didn't delay, we didn't give in to distractions, and we became successful. And now we're being called to operate in a completely different paradigm, which is the paradigm of, you could say it's God's timing, it's the divine's clock, it's the universe's schedule. I think there's a great quote, probably not going to get it right, but I don't even know what the quote is, but the idea is spring turns to summer. It's never too early, it's never too late, and everything is done. It's all done according to the flow. There's nothing ever rushed in nature. You don't see the from winter to spring, something in nature's rushing. There's no rush, and everything is accomplished. This is a natural process happening us. It's the same thing that's happening when we look out in a forest as the seasons turn. It's the same thing that's happening here. And so it's all going to happen without a rush, but it's all going to happen at the right pace. And in nature, we don't see egos, trying to manage and make sure that they meet the deadline. We're operating in a completely different paradigm. And so one thing we can do is contemplate this idea of not my will, but thy will, God's will. We can even actively say, okay, God, if you want it to take this long, well, I want it to be a little faster, but this is your show. I surrender. I let it all go. Actively releasing that part of us that's a little impatient, that can help as well. But ultimately, paradoxically, we zoom out, even with your impatience, you're not delaying it. The process is still unfolding at the right pace. So you can't get it wrong. And you just have to just let what's coming up come up. There's nothing wrong here to feel impatient, to hate the divine, to hate God, to want this to all go away. All that's welcome here. And nonetheless, there's so much momentum behind this awakening process that you're going to make it when you're meant to make it. Fortunately, just to give you some hope here, things are happening very, very quickly at this time. Very quickly. I think every time we meet, every week, I'm different. Others, I'm sure, in a week, a lot of different things are happening. Sometimes maybe nothing apparently happens, but a lot is happening behind the scenes. And then a little puzzle piece falls into place and a huge shift happens that changes everything. So keep that in mind. We're not living in the early 1900s where it was taking a lot longer. We're at a point where it's happening much, much faster. So I hope that can give you some hope.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks.